everyone! Welcome back to Time Whispered. What if I told you that one of the most powerful women in history didn't change her underwear for 8 months straight? And that this disgusting habit almost brought the plague to an entire kingdom? Have you ever wondered just how far royal traditions, or royal neglect, could go? Imagine a queen so devout, so obsessed with purity and modesty, that she refused to ever remove her undergarments. Not for days, not for weeks, not even for years. Now, this wasn't just some quirky habit. It was a decision that had consequences far beyond her own health, consequences that rippled across a nation, and may have played a silent role in ushering disease, despair, and death into the heart of Spain. You see, behind the velvet curtains of European royalty, beneath the silk gowns and gold crowns, there existed a world of superstition, medical ignorance, and fear. Fear of sin, fear of the body, and above all, fear of change. And in that world, one queen's shocking refusal to change her underwear became more than just a disturbing anecdote. It became a symbol of power misunderstood, of faith taken to extremes, and of how even the highest rulers could unknowingly flirt with disaster. Today, on Time Whispered, we uncover the forgotten tale of this enigmatic queen, her twisted legacy, her silent rebellion, and the strange, unsanitary decision that nearly turned a kingdom into a breeding ground for plague. This isn't a story you'll find in most history books, but once you hear it, you'll never forget it. Today, we're diving into the bizarre true story of Queen Isabella of Spain, the woman who funded Columbus, conquered Granada, and apparently had zero concept of personal hygiene. Trust me, this story gets way weirder than you think. Picture this. It's 1491. You're a servant in the Spanish royal court and you walk into the Queen's chamber. The smell hits you like a brick wall. There's your queen, still wearing the same white dress she put on 3 months ago. It's yellow with sweat, brown with blood, and crawling with fleas. Welcome to medieval Spain, where being filthy was considered holy. So here's what supposedly happened. Isabella made a sacred vow to God. She wouldn't change her underwear until she conquered Granada, the last Muslim city in Spain. Now, this might sound crazy to us, but back then, this was the ultimate power move. See, medieval Christians believed that being clean was actually sinful. Seriously, they thought bathing was what Muslims and pagans did. Good Christians were supposed to be dirty, because it showed they cared more about their souls than their bodies. While Muslims had these incredible public bathhouses and bathed regularly, Christians saw this as evil. Church leaders literally preached that he who is bathed in Christ needs no second bath. So the dirtier you were, the holier you appeared. Isabella took this to the extreme. She practiced self-flagellation, basically whipping herself until she bled, and never washed the blood off. She saw her unwashed, blood-stained underwear as a holy relic. The siege of Granada lasted 8 brutal months. Isabella lived in a military camp with thousands of soldiers, horses, and zero sanitation. The summer heat hit over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you imagine the smell? But Isabella embraced it all. She spent hours praying in her tent, wearing the same linen shift that was getting more disgusting by the day. Visitors reported that approaching the queen required great fortitude of spirit and a strong stomach. The psychological effects were intense. Medieval people believed that body odor and filth could actually protect you from disease, that bad smells kept worse illnesses away. Isabella's behavior wasn't seen as crazy. It was seen as strategic spiritual warfare. Her underwear became so stiff with accumulated sweat, blood, and dirt that people said it could stand up on its own. But to medieval minds, this wasn't disgusting, it was miraculous. Here's where things get really dark. During the siege, plague broke out in the Spanish camp. Thousands of soldiers died. But here's the twisted part. The dirtiest people seemed to survive better. The nobles who occasionally washed died in huge numbers. But the servants, covered in grease and filth, they lived. The stable boys, who never bathed, totally fine. This convinced Isabella that cleanliness was literally deadly. Of course, we know now this was just coincidence. The fleas carrying plague preferred certain hosts over others, but Isabella saw it as divine proof that her unwashed lifestyle was blessed by God. She became even more extreme, welcoming the fleas in her clothing as divine tests and refusing to let anyone clean her tent or change her bedding. After 8 months of this madness, Granada finally surrendered. Isabella had won, and according to legend, this was the moment she finally changed her underwear. The garments she removed were supposedly so encrusted with filth they could stand upright like armor made of human waste. These clothes were treated as holy relics and kept by the church. But the victory came at a cost. Isabella looked skeletal, her hair was falling out, and she'd developed skin infections all over her body. The months of deliberate self-neglect had nearly killed her. Yet Spanish society celebrated this as the ultimate act of devotion. She'd literally sacrificed her body for her faith and her kingdom. This story reveals something disturbing about medieval Europe. While other kingdoms were slowly embracing hygiene, Spain went in the opposite direction. The Spanish court became legendary across Europe for being absolutely filthy. Foreign ambassadors wrote letters describing the unbearable smell of Spanish nobles, who wore their dirtiness like a badge of honor. This cultural obsession with holy filth contributed to Spain having some of the worst disease outbreaks in medieval Europe. The medical understanding of the time made this worse. Doctors believed that washing away your body's natural oils would make you sick. They taught that certain beneficial vapors from unwashed bodies could protect against disease. This created a perfect storm of ignorance, religious extremism, and political pressure that turned basic hygiene into a sin. So did Isabella really not change her underwear for 8 months? Modern historians are skeptical. This story might be propaganda, either to make her look saintly or to make her look crazy, depending on who was telling it. But here's the thing. Whether it's true or not, the fact that people believed it for 500 years tells us everything about medieval attitudes toward women, power, and purity. Today, you can visit Granada and see the beautiful palace Isabella conquered. It's clean, well-maintained, and smells like nothing but fresh air and flowers. Hard to imagine it was once the prize in a war won by a woman who refused to change her underwear. Isabella's story reminds us how completely different the medieval mindset was from ours. In her world, suffering was sacred, cleanliness was suspicious, and the most powerful woman in Europe could be celebrated for embracing conditions that would horrify us today. Whether the story is true or not, it opens a window into a world where the line between holiness and horror was razor thin, and sometimes disappeared entirely. So, the next time someone tells you that royal life was all glamour and grace, just remember the queen who nearly doomed a nation, all because of her underwear. History is full of strange stories like this, if you know where to look. If you enjoyed this tale from the shadows of the past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Time Whispered, where forgotten stories come back to life.